The hidden dangers of spanking, understanding its long-term effects on mental and physical health. Spanking, often regarded as a form of discipline, is increasingly recognized by researchers and mental health professionals as a harmful practice that can lead to significant psychological and physiological consequences, even when it occurs infrequently. Scientific evidence reveals that spanking, even just a few times a year, can have lasting impacts on a child's brain development and emotional well-being, leading to trauma responses that manifest in adulthood. The freeze response and trauma. When a child is spanked, they experience a profound conflict. The person who is supposed to protect and nurture them is also the source of fear and pain. This emotional turmoil can trigger a freeze trauma response, which is part of the body's survival mechanisms. Unlike the fight or flight responses, which mobilize the body to confront or escape danger, the freeze response leads a child to become immobilized. In this state, the child may dissociate from the experience, feeling helpless and trapped. As adults, individuals who were spanked may find themselves struggling with anxiety, depression, and low self-esteem, often stemming from those early traumatic experiences. The psychological impact. ACEs and chronic illness. Spanking is categorized as an adverse childhood experience, ACE, a term used to describe various forms of childhood trauma, including physical and emotional abuse, neglect, and household dysfunction. Research shows that ACEs significantly increase the risk of chronic physical and mental health issues later in life. The stress of childhood trauma can lead to improper development of the nervous system, resulting in heightened sensitivity to stressors and chronic dysregulation. This dysregulation can weaken the immune system, making individuals more susceptible to autoimmune diseases and a host of other health problems. Statistical evidence underscores the severity of the impact of ACEs. For instance, individuals with 4 or more ACEs are more likely to experience chronic health conditions such as heart disease, diabetes, cancer, and autoimmune disorders. They also face increased risks of mental health issues, including depression, anxiety, and substance abuse. The link between ACEs and suicide is particularly concerning. Research indicates that individuals with a history of multiple ACEs are more likely to contemplate or attempt suicide in adulthood. Intergenerational trauma of spanking and its roots. Spanking is often seen as a normalized form of discipline, but it is essential to recognize that it is not a natural or universally accepted practice. Many indigenous cultures and African tribes historically did not use corporal punishment, viewing it as foreign and counterproductive. Instead, they favored approaches that emphasize compassion and community support. The introduction of corporal punishment by colonizers marked the beginning of intergenerational trauma for many families, perpetuating cycles of fear and control. Neuroscientific studies have shown that even minimal exposure to spanking can lead to changes in brain structure and function, similar to those observed in children who face more severe forms of abuse. This includes alterations in areas of the brain responsible for emotional regulation, impulse control, and cognitive function, ultimately resulting in lowered IQ and academic performance. Impaired impulse control, a common consequence of childhood trauma such as spanking, significantly affects an individual's ability to manage their emotions and reactions. When the brain's emotional regulation centers are disrupted, individuals may struggle with heightened irritability and anger, leading to impulsive outbursts or aggressive behavior. Ultimately, these challenges can create a cycle of maladaptive behavior that perpetuates emotional distress and further complicates their relationships and overall well-being. Addressing misconceptions and recognizing trauma. It is common for individuals who were spanked to dismiss its impact, asserting, "I was spanked and I'm fine." However, this perspective often overlooks the subtle, cumulative effects of such experiences. Symptoms of trauma, such as low self-esteem, chronic illness, depression, and anxiety, may not be immediately apparent, making it difficult for individuals to connect their current struggles with childhood experiences of spanking. Acknowledging that parents may have caused harm can be emotionally challenging, as it conflicts with the desire to honor parental love and care. Myth. Number 1. Spanking isn't hitting or violence, it's discipline. Quote, "Imagine this scenario. An aide at a nursing home for Alzheimer's patients discovers an elderly woman poking at an electrical outlet. The aide immediately slaps the woman hard across the buttocks several times, reducing the woman to tears. Has the woman been hit? Most of us would agree that she has. Has she been a victim of violence? Most of us would agree to that also. Furthermore, even though there is no permanent injury to her physical being, every state in the United States would define what happened to the woman as abuse. The aide would certainly lose her job and might face criminal charges as well. The facility would be in danger of losing its license. But substitute 2-year-old for elderly woman and parent for nursing home aide, and all of a sudden, our perceptions change. The hitting and the violence become a spanking. The fact that our society has arbitrarily decided to offer protection to one victim and withhold it from the other does not alter the truth. Spanking is hitting and it is violent. By 𝗛𝗵𝘂𝗃, LCSW. Myth. Number 2. I was spanked and I'm okay. Quote, most smokers never develop cancer, most drunk drivers don't get into wrecks, and most children who grow up in homes with lead paint do not suffer brain damage. But no intelligent adult would seriously advocate smoking, driving drunk, or using lead-based paint to decorate their walls. There's also one more thing to consider. Most people who were spanked are okay in the sense that they aren't in prisons or psychiatric facilities. However, corporal punishment is handed down from one generation to the next. Compared to people who were not spanked, people who were spanked as children are more likely to spank their own kids. Let's put that in plain English. People who were hit when they were vulnerable children are more likely to think it is acceptable, even desirable, for a fully grown adult to use painful physical force against a small child. How okay is that? By 𝗛𝗵𝘂𝗃, LCSW. It is crucial to approach this topic with compassion. Many parents who resorted to spanking did so out of a belief that it was a necessary form of discipline, often having faced similar treatment in their own upbringing. Understanding the influence of intergenerational trauma can help us recognize that, if they had access to the knowledge we have today, they might have chosen different, more nurturing methods of discipline. The evidence against spanking is compelling. It is associated with a wide range of adverse outcomes, from mental health struggles to chronic physical illnesses. By prioritizing compassionate, nonviolent forms of discipline, we can break the cycle of intergenerational trauma and promote healthier, more resilient individuals. As we continue to learn about the effects of childhood experiences on lifelong health, it is essential to advocate for practices that foster emotional safety and well-being for the next generation. Recognizing the harm caused by spanking is a vital step toward healing and fostering a society that values kindness and understanding over fear and control. By Lena Kravitz.